Hey guys, it's Chloe. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a quick review on these textbooks. These are the textbooks I'm using for Japanese. They're the 90 Days of Japanese Language textbooks, or Nihongo Kyuju Nichi. This is the first textbook. I'm currently nearly finished with the second one in the series. But I thought, for the sake of this review, I'd just go through the first lesson of the first textbook and kind of talk you through what it is I like and what it is I don't like so much about this series. But I will just say overall I really like these textbooks, and if you are looking for a textbook series for Japanese, I would definitely recommend these ones. So the textbook is entirely in Japanese. That's one of the good points about it, in my opinion. Some textbooks you can kind of get caught up with all the explanations and translations and things like that, so the fact that this is entirely in Japanese makes it very easy to kind of focus on what it's teaching you. So this is the first chapter of the first textbook, and as you can see it has pictures for the words instead of the translations in English. That's all in the manual. I think this is good because it kind of helps you remember the words through the pictures, so your brain can make associations better and helps you remember it, but they don't have it for all of them. They only have pictures for some of the words, which I think is a bit annoying, frankly, because if they're going to have pictures they might as well do it for all the words, because otherwise you just got all these words and you don't know what they mean. But like I said, it's all translated in the manual, so it's not the end of the world. I just think it's weird how they've done it. Then there's the dialogues. There's a CD that comes with the textbook that has the dialogues on it. So the dialogues for each lesson will basically be focusing on the grammar points that are in that lesson. I like that it comes first because you can kind of familiarise yourself with it before actually learning it, so you can see it in context and kind of get an idea of how the grammar point is used before actually learning like how it's used in the exceptions and things like that. So this is the actual grammar for the lesson, and I really like how this is laid out. It's really simple to understand, and it gives you the clear structures and just the structures. In the manual it gives you more of an explanation about how things are used, like here the different particles, what the different particles mean, things like that. But I really like how it's just laid out really clearly, just the structure, and then they have example sentences, so kind of like fill in the gaps almost. They'll have like different examples to make full sentences. Yeah, I really like how they have the grammar laid out in this textbook. And then here they also have practice exercises. Now, because I used this in class at university, we didn't actually fill these in. We had like separate workbooks given to us by the university. But looking at them, they are good for, filling in the gaps. So like here, you have to use the correct particles and the correct ending. It's basically just for you to use what you've learned in the lesson. They also have listening exercises as well, which I think is useful because I always need to improve my listening. My listening is awful. So I think it's good that that is included. It kind of has reading, writing and listening. Not so much speaking, but you can read the dialogues to yourself to kind of get that speaking practice. So that's about it for the textbook itself. I do really like these textbooks. I think they are the best textbooks I've used for Japanese. But now I'm going to kind of go through the manual, which is in English. So this is the English manual. I think it comes in Korean and Chinese as well. Yeah, I'm not so keen on how this is laid out because it's kind of done in groups. So here are the translations for the first lesson for the vocab, but they've kind of got all the lessons vocab in a section, so they do it grouped rather than just by lesson. I think I'd prefer if it was done by lesson because it's kind of easier to follow through. And then it has translations for the dialogue. But again, it's all the dialogue for the first 5 lessons grouped together, it's not by lesson. They also have extra vocabulary, which I think is good, because then it's not just limiting you to what's used in the lesson, it kind of gives you extra to help expand your vocabulary. And then you finally get to the grammar explanations. I think if it was grouped by lesson, rather than in groups of lessons, I would like this a lot more. But the fact that it's in groups, you've kind of got to flick through between everything. So you've got to flick between the grammar and the vocab and the dialogue, which I think is a little bit annoying, but anyway. So here you've got the main point that was in the textbook, and it's got a brief explanation, and then sometimes there's exceptions for the rule, so they'll go through the exceptions and it gives you lots of example sentences and things like that. One thing I don't get is why they have it in Romaji as well, because the textbook's entirely in Japanese. It uses kana and kanji. It uses kanji right from the beginning, and then in the manual it has it in Romaji, which doesn't quite make sense to me, but I mean, it's not the end of the world. So whereas in the textbook it has just the structures, this goes through in more detail about the different grammar points, and it also includes some extra points that weren't actually in the textbook itself. So I think that's good because it kind of gives you a wider understanding. So if we just compare it to the textbook quickly, you can see how it's got the same grammar points. Actually, it's not in order. Anyway, it's got the same grammar points, but it's just, there's more explanation, whereas here it's just the structure. So I think that's really good. I think it's good to have both, because I feel like personally, just having the structure makes it much easier to remember. Then obviously you need to understand, you know, the rules, how it's used, what it means exactly, things like that. So I think together these books are really good. So that's it for this video. I just kind of wanted to show you guys inside these books and kind of talk through them a bit. They can be quite hard to find. They sometimes pop up on Amazon and eBay, or you can get them on JP Books, but they're quite expensive. So if I can find them on Amazon or eBay, I'll link them in the description for you guys to check out. So yeah, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it and found it useful, and I'll see you next time.